My name is Ernie Kapotis. I'm the Chief Financial Officer of Intersource Consulting Group. I have 14 years in the broker-dealer industry, 4 of which as an examiner with FINRA in the Boston district. I've also served as a full-time FinOp for an institutional research firm in Boston. I'm an avid sports fan. I always have been. I used to be a sports writer at Boston College, and that's something I've continued to be very interested in. What I've always seemed to enjoy doing is solving complex financial issues for firms, which I've been doing for years, and that's very important in the FinOp role.
My name is Don Pollard. I'm the Chief Compliance Officer of Intersource Compliance Group. So I have 25 years of experience in the financial service industry, working with large wirehouses all the way to small and mid-sized firms in compliance, ranging from an AML officer to a Chief Compliance Officer. My favorite pastime is sports. I'm a huge hockey fan, and in the summertime, boating is where you'll find me. What I enjoy most about being a Chief Compliance Officer for Intersource is being able to help our clients through regulatory issues that may arise with FINRA, and ultimately saving them money so they can focus on what their biggest goal is, and that is to grow their business. And Intersource and myself focus on helping them achieve those goals.
I became the FinOp for an equity research firm in Boston in 2007. And it gave me the opportunity to really analyze the financial condition of that firm. And it translated smoothly from when I went to FINRA as an examiner, where I specialized in financial examination. So it's something I've always enjoyed.
I got into compliance mostly for the sheer fact that over my 25 years of experience, I have seen FINRA rules and regulations change so many times. And it seems like FINRA is really starting to constrict the small to mid-sized firms and making it more difficult for them to operate. And compliance costs are exorbitant. With my experience with small and mid-sized firms, as well as wirehouses, and Ernie, with his FINRA examination experience, it really helps our clients achieve their compliance goals.
Don and I met in 2016 at a compliance function, and we got to talking, obviously, about the industry and our backgrounds. And at the time, we each wanted to start our own compliance consulting firm. And he was really focused on the CCO side. Most of my experience was in the FinOp side. It was a perfect match. We spent a couple of months, interviewing one another, discussing, how we would want to merge a business if we could. And ultimately, in September of 2016, Intersource took off. And so far, we're pleased with its progress.
The synergy between Ernie and I just really clicked from day one. We had a lot of same goals. We saw a lot of the same issues with FINRA and projecting what was going forward in the industry. And because we were on the same page on a lot of different things, it just seemed like a natural course of action for us to team up.
Don and I are always discussing our various clients, because most of which have Don as the CCO and myself as the FinOp. So Don will be throwing the various compliance items in my direction for me to think about. And together we'll make sure the firm has the correct procedures and that they're being followed and that the correct personnel are adhering to those procedures, that it's being properly documented. On the financial side, I'll be reviewing the income statement, and I'll see a line of revenue that might require some special supervision based on the product that it is. And Don, will discuss with me how those rules are being followed, that revenue has been, those transactions have been properly reviewed. And that's the type of seamless relationship that Intersource has. There was one meeting we had with a client, and we didn't realize it was going to happen, but almost every major employee of that client ended up being at the meeting. And they were looking for a solution to a compliance issue. And Don just, in the course of conversation, mentioned something, and immediately, almost every person like agreed with it. And then they just decided to do it. And it was funny because we weren't even prepared to even have that meeting.
One funny incident that happened with Ernie and I, we were with a client. We were not expecting to facilitate a ad hoc compliance meeting in front of a group of 250 plus employees. Reps. And I'm not the best in public speaking. Luckily, I had Ernie to save me many a times when I started stammering and couldn't find the correct words to use. Ernie was there, luckily, to save me and make me not look so foolish.
Oftentimes, as compliance professionals, you need to be able to produce the source of the information you're providing. You know, FINRA is looking at these rules and they're holding the firms accountable to following the rules. If you want to have that intellectual conversation on whether the firm is or is not following that rule, or when you have to defend your broker-dealer client and say, yes, they are following that rule, well, that's all having the proper source, the source of information, how that rule has been interpreted, and because we always dive as far as we can towards the center of where that information is located, we thought Intersource would be a good name.